Hi, Dougie Burr from Douglas Tackle World here, giving you the inshore fishing report from Jumping Pin down to Tweed Heads and on the beaches for the 27th and 28th of March. Okay, lots of rain, lots and lots of rain. The Hinds Dam's still flowing over, so while that's flowing over, the river, the Broadwater and everything will be disgustingly brown, and it will be for probably another week or two, I dare think. So what's this done? Also the same to Logan River too, by the way, sorry folks. Same application applies to the Jumping Pin area. So all that dirty water coming out of the Albert and the Logan either goes up towards Peel or down towards the Jumping Pin bar area. So it's just going to be like a big chocolate milkshake, a really strong chocolate milkshake, like mud. So I would dare think if you're fishing at Jumping Pin Way, we'll start there first. Jumping Way, most of the clear water is going to be the last 2 hours of the run-in tide and probably the first hour of the run-out, which it's not too bad a time at this weekend. You're sort of talking 6 a.m. to around about probably 9 or 10 at the latest. So that'll be your clearest water. It's still going to be very dirty though, folks, but it's going to be cleaner than what it would be, say, at half run-out tide or towards the bottom and halfway up tide. So that 2 hours before high, 1 hour after is the time you should go fishing, okay? 6 till 10 o'clock in the morning or earlier. And I'll be trying around. There should be, even though the water's dirty, there'll still be birds, there'll still be bait, and there'll still be tailor around that sort of Crusoe Island, north eastern tip, and maybe down around the entrance to Tippler's Channel. I think anywhere west of Tippler's Channel or west of Slipping Sands or even north of Slipping Sands, it's going to be dirty. So you need to keep in that area if you want to get a few fish. For those that are land-based, say Jacob's Well and Cabbage Tree Point area and whatever, it's just going to be throw a line out and you'll get bream and stuff like that, but there's not going to be the fish that you would normally catch, I don't think, in that sort of area. It'll be quite fresh and it'll be quite muddy. And they don't want the mud in their eyes, they'll be going somewhere where it's a bit cleaner. Plenty of mud crabs though. So one thing that is really good at the moment are the mud crabs. So the mud crabs have been flushed out of all their creeks and all their little hidey holes up the mangrove tributaries and wherever it may be, and they'll be in the river, in the main river bed area, or in the deeper holes throughout the river. There'll be all that fresh water coming down. Probably, I don't know how deep it would be in the depth, but I'm quite sure the last third water column on the bottom will be fairly salty and a bit clearer. So unless the current's ripping, of course. So that would be the area that the crabs will be hiding in. So just check out, next time you put your pots out, make sure it's in an area that's away from the general shallow muddy banks and stuff like that they normally would be at, but they're not going to be there now, okay? Here's a catfish around. We're going to catch some catfish. Bull sharks, I don't know, they should be around also in this sort of weather. Conditions, sorry, but I'll be probably concentrating on mud crabs or fishing on the eastern side of Jumping Pin area, like I said. Further down this way, again, mud crabs galore. Pimpamar River's been really good. I'd probably be trying out the front of the Pimpamar River in front of Curran Cove there in that deep water. They may have been pushed out to there, and further down towards Sovereign and even the deeper waters north and east of Sovereign Island, and then up Coombar Lakes. They'll be probably out of the lakes and into the main Coombar Creek part, and where Coombar Creek sort of gets a bit deep up towards the houses that are on the edge of the water there, up towards head towards Hope Island. So just drop your pots around the place and see how you go. Overnight's obviously best, okay, for your mud crabs. Sand crabs, I haven't heard of any sand crabs the last 3 days. They will come back, but they're just not going to be here now, I don't think, unless you're lucky. But the big thing is fishing in the seaway. So all of that water pushing out the nutrients, it all sort of ends at the seaway because that's where the clean water meets the dirty. It's still dirty, don't get me wrong, but it's cleaner, a bit like Jumping Pin scenario. And I'll be fishing the seaway definitely. It's quite good conditions for those of you who go ashore to get your live baits like slimies and yakkers. If you can find them offshore, that is, because it's dirty water, they don't like it too much. And then come back and fish along the north wall of the seaway. I have no doubt there will be dewies there at the moment, and there'll definitely be the odd mangrove jacks that have been pushed out of the rivers and canal system, and they'll be all schooled up along the seaway walls. So that's where I'll be fishing definitely this weekend. I would dare think that you'll get other species in the seaway like small snapper. Again, they'll be feeding there, come from offshore into the seaway. You'll also be getting heaps and heaps of bream. You probably get sweetlip, I dare think, yellow sweetlip, and maybe a couple other types of sweetlip, and also small cod and stuff like that. So a lot of the reefy type species, they love feeding in these sort of situations. There's a couple of lures I'd recommend too if you want to lure fish in the seaway, and what I'll be doing is fishing quite light jig heads, just enough to get down to the bottom, maybe size 1 or size 2 hook, one at the biggest. Probably in that 1/16 up to maybe a quarter if the tide's ripping quite hard, and fishing around that sort of 8 to 12 pound or 15 pound braid at the most in size, and using small lures like this fellow here. These are the Eco Gear brim, these little fellow prawns. They're really good, and they're called brim prawns actually. Those little things there, they don't look like they have much action, and they don't actually, but they just kick butt. So again, you cast it up current, it hit the bottom, and you're just doing a little hop. You may be raising that far off the bottom at the most and letting it sit, and a little hop. Very easy fishing, and then they just whack it, they hit it. And that's the type of thing I'd be using in that size jig head, like I said. I'm talking fishing from, say, the second last red before wave break hole on the north side, all the way down to the front of north wall of wave break, and then around the north side of wave break. The seaway has a common theme of fishing better on the north side than the south side for all that type of species of fish. So the south side produces flaties and bream and stuff like that, and whiting. The north side produces more reef type fish. Okay, just always remember that, just the way it is. A lot more structure on the north side. There's a lot of coffee rock and reefy type areas that are constantly opened up because the sand pushes off it and then exposes the bottom, and it's quite good. Some of those places you'd be going along, it's like 15 or 20 foot on the edge of the channel, and then it'll just drop down to 28 or so, or 30 or 40, and come back up again. And in those holes, and it's hard bottom, that's where the fish are, okay, and sitting in there. Another lure I want to show you about today, which are designed really for light line, like that sort of 2 to 4 or 5 kilo line, are these little fellows here. These are Jackson, a Japanese lure, and they're called Dart Magic. I think I promise you, I caught like 16 different species of fish on this little thing, including dewies up to 1 meter. The hooks on it are very light, so you can't fish your drag super strong, and these are actually the stronger version because we asked them to change it to heavier hooks. But you could perhaps put a bit heavier hook on again, but the action of this lure just kills it, okay? Let's have this little fellow here if you can see it. Sorry. This little fella's got spots on the side of him. Quite a weird looking thing with a bent head on it. I might see a bit on this one actually. If you can see the shape of the head there on that, hopefully you can. But these fellas are really good. They're called Dart Magic, and what you do, again, cast it up current, let it come down to the bottom. They've only got the one hook which is in sort of the center of the lure. It's quite weird sitting on its side. So like a baby bent minnow, but the different action, and they're actually lead, so they sink quite quick on light line. And again, it's the same action, it's just a hop, hop, hop. I have wound them fast, I have lifted them right up. It doesn't matter what I do, I catch fish on them, and I catch every species on them. So if you want to try something different, and I reckon these things, when I've got you guys that fish brim comps, like the amount of brim we get on these, I don't like using these because I want to catch other species. I catch the brim. You should give one of these guys a shot, okay? So a little Jackson Dart Magic, and really good around the seaway. They'll catch everything. And the other thing that would be maybe around, could be a few flaties around the seaway. I'm guessing again, like this time of year, they're normally up the rivers and they're about to come out soon. as it gets a bit cooler, and they come down into the broadwater and jumping pin area. But that rain, like 700 mils or a metre, whatever it was, is going to flush those babies out, and they'll be all around the broadwater, the sandbanks. They'll be hungry. They'll be looking for bait and food. So I'd be going soft plasticking with probably paddle tails, and again, just slow working them around the weed beds and on the edges, the drop-offs of the channels, and wherever you got a little drain running off a sandbank and dropping into the channel, fishing those little runoffs as well. There's another new item we got in recently called Molex Rt Shad. These are also good for bass, of course, too, but they are extremely good for flatties and jacks. And the detail on these things is ridiculous. They're a Japanese product, they always are good. So that type of fellow there, if you can see that. And they do a range of colours. They are really, really good. The action on them is very, very soft. So the tail is extremely working really well with just the lightest of action. So plenty of action. Definitely worth a try for the flatties around the place at the moment. You'll get brim and snapper and everything on them as well. But if you move from there, the other species to chase this weekend would be whiting. So I know it sounds stupid because the water's dirty, but all of those whiting that you've been catching up the Tweed River and up to as far as Carrara, I would dare think there'll be probably 90% of them sitting out in the broadwater at the moment, not up the river. And they'll be hanging around the sandbanks from in front of Versace, that first bank there on your right, on the Southport side, and then all the banks that go from there up to the Seaway, both sides. So in front of Lotus Creek, in front of SeaWorld, and then in front of Labrador, Aqua Building, all those sandbanks, particularly on the main edge of the channel. Get yourself some yabbies or worms, and fish probably the run out tide, so the clean water in the first couple of hours or 3 hours of the run out. And I would dare say you'll catch some really good whiting. And at night time, as the tide, I think the high tide tomorrow night's around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, I would be getting right up on top of those banks, on the edge of the bank, where it might go from 8 feet or 2.5 meters up to a meter, and fishing right on that edge and casting a couple of lines up on the shallow and a couple on the edge. And as that tide starts running out after 8 o'clock, they'll then slide off the bank onto that edge and feed along that edge. Just give that a go and see how you go. I reckon you'll do all right. Beach fishing, the beaches are dirty. They're really dirty. But it doesn't mean the fish aren't going to be there. There'll definitely be brim on the beach, 100%. Maybe whiting as well. Those whiting might have been even pushed out onto the front of the beach. If you like fishing up the pump and jetty, maybe try the sand pump and jetty for whiting. Fish the close-in gutter side of it, facing south towards Surfers Paradise, or fish off the beach right next to the jetty, casting out to where those guys are fishing off the jetty, and using beach worms, of course, or yabbies. Probably look at a little dart, even though the water's a bit dirty, but there will be dart, because dart don't go out to sea, they stay along the beach somewhere. So there's probably plenty of dart too, by the way, on the north wall of the Seaway at the moment, casting right up against the edge of the rocks at the front of the wall. Those little dart magic things I showed you before, the dart just smash them, okay, and big dart. But give that a shot too for those as well. They hit on the fall as well because they sort of swim down. Yeah, so off the beach, go back to the beach fishing. I don't think there'll be many tail around. There was just prior to the rain, but again, this is probably going to hurt them a bit. There will be tailor though out with the tuna offshore, a little bit close to the beach, but offshore you need a boat, and they'll be probably schooled up and feeding on the bait. Just look for the birds and look for the white water on the top amongst all that dirty water, and there'll be tailor there. Probably a lot of tailor though pushed out to the reefs, I think, at the moment as well. Further down south, well, we saw the Tweed River. It's like even more dirty, so it's a little bit hard one. You're probably better off fishing the beaches north there, of sort of between Burleigh and maybe Tugun, all on that area. That's probably the cleanest water on the Gold Coast at the moment, I think. Give that a shot, but it'll still be dirty, I think. Probably not much else I can tell you about the beach. Tweed River, plenty of brim on the rock walls. There's always brim when you get dirty water. Give that a go. And there'll be plenty of mud crabs too up the river around Tombolga. They'll be probably pushed out actually even around the main Boyds Bay Bridge, the main bridges there, and that deeper holes in that area. Give that a go. Yeah. Hinge Dam. Sorry, I'll stop there. Sorry. I was going to do the freshwater report, but I'll do that in a moment. So guys, get out onto the Broadwater, give it a shot around the Seaway, try the beach if you want to have a try at the beach. It's not much swell, fantastic. And the weather's glorious. It's just the water's not glorious. Anyhow, good luck out there and thank you. It's Dougie Burke. Cheers, bye.